So we started recording. I'm just gonna go and action. Hi,
Nice.
my name is Sunny, and I am the CEO, co-founder of SoundRig. This is the Sound of the Future podcast, where we give artists who are launching on SoundRig the stage to show their real personality, their soul, and we want to give them a stage where they can be themselves and really find out where they've come from and where they're going. So here we go. Abe, also known as LVllABY, is here with his logo behind him, and we have My Perspective, a special guest here. I hope you don't mind me calling you Jeff. Is that okay?
Yeah, not a problem. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted your name out there or not, but I guess it's cool. Thank you so much for coming. Really, we're here to talk about LVllABY, and I guess that's a good place to start. Like LVllABY, where did that name come from?
So that name come from, it's a funny story actually. I remember I was working at my sunglass job. I worked in this little kiosk right near the food market, or the food court, that's what we call it here. And I'm just jotting down names and I'm drawing little things and whatnot, and I'm looking them up, and I had a list of like 20 names by that point, kind of thing. Come here, kitty. I had like 20 names at that point, kind of thing, all chosen or like put together, kind of thing. And I was like looking through them, and like half of them, of course, were already taken. So I'm just like, well, I want something that really sticks out and resonates to me. So I picked LVllABY. The reason why is because at the time I wanted to make music that was like very melodic, very, very beautiful, very resonant, very relaxing. But I also wanted to make it distorted, gritty, ugly, gross, like disgusting, like epic, glitchy. So like to take the word like lullaby and distort it with using a V instead of a U, and then like keeping some letters undercase, some uppercase, just adds to that imperfection that I'm kind of like going for. And it reflects in my logo too. Like I have a dichotomy all the time where like, if I've taken multiple morality tests and I always fall somewhere true and neutral. So like this indication, this representation of like the pretty, the light, the beautiful, the dark, the gritty, like they all exist in us, kind of thing. So it's cool to like combine the two concepts together and actually like blur the lines.
So like the perfect imperfections, so to speak.
Oh
Nice.
yeah.
And obviously the sheep comes from the lullaby, going and sending yourself to sleep. I suppose that's very cool as well. And so talking about your sound and the distortions, and I mean, like if anyone's heard it, it definitely keeps you on your toes. Put it that way. Like it is edgy stuff. And I wouldn't say it was my personal taste growing up, but I found it very intriguing to the point that I did definitely want to listen all the way to the end, because you just don't know what to expect. But I guess what my question is, how did you arrive at that style? Is that something that was always there, or have you evolved into that from something else? And what was that something else?
That's a great question. So I remember, I mean, my life back before I started making music was really like the promoting side of things. I was a street team promoter for a couple of years, and I would watch all these events and whatnot, and something just kept on resonating inside of me to like start making music. So I guess I started first with FL Studio, and
okay.
Oh yeah, Fruity Loops, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I started with that, and I made like this horrible, absolutely horrid like bass, like I would say.
Wasn't it a remix?
It was a remix. Yeah, it was the Alan Walker remix.
I remember
Yeah,
that, yeah.
Faded remix. He's probably, him and somebody else are probably the only people that will ever, or have ever heard it, will ever heard it. It will never see the light of day.
Yeah.
I will burn it. Yeah, I will burn it down with fire. But it was.
I'm sure a lot of producers say that about their first tracks as well. To be fair.
Oh yeah. It was a big room house track, and then after like a month or two of playing around with FL Studio, I just stopped making music for whatever reason. finally, after some life events happened, that's whenever I got into music hardcore with Ableton. And Ableton ain't cheap, okay? Like, it definitely ain't cheap. So I definitely, like, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to spend this money. I better get to using it, kind of thing. And that's kind of when I started making stuff.
Yeah, I remember when you, like, you know, you had to upgrade and do standards. And whenever we would try to, like, throw each other projects, I was like, oh, you don't have these instruments because you don't have the full version. Dang it. Yeah, and I remember that. Yeah, I'm glad you moved on and came to the Ableton side, though, dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So once you pay that out, you commit to it, right? So you're gonna do it properly, or you're not gonna do it at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then from there, the sky's the limit. Like, whenever it comes to like genres and styles, I'm sure you guys both know that, like, I don't stick to one thing. Like, every track in the EP is completely different vibe, kind of thing, and I absolutely love that kind of stuff. So like, whenever I produce now, I just do it because it's for me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's for me. I'm not going to release anything that I don't like personally, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whenever I say it's me, whenever you hear a track, that's me in that current moment. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't define my music, though, kind of thing. It's just me, who I am.
It's a snapshot of you.
Exactly.
Sound.
Exactly.
Yeah, that reminds me of like, because Rick Rubin said that is like, when it comes to art making, it's really just exactly that. It's a sort of journal entry or a pinpoint, like a little saving point of where you were at creatively and where you're and what you were expressing at that moment, and which is why it's always good to just keep going, because everything you're making isn't going to be your opus, right? It's the collective journey of that of all those creations culminated into your archive that actually, like, fully defines your creative journey as an artist. Yeah, so I found that
this man, I've only seen you second time now. The first time we will explain where I have, and mate, my perspective is one of the most articulate I've heard in a very long time, and this guy knows how to say his shit. So I would like to, if you don't mind, Abe, give the stage to my perspective, because I would love to know how this happened. Like, how do you know each other, and where do you come from, and what's your background?
Yeah, like I actually started music seriously around 2017. That's when I really got committed, and it just so happened that a year later, Abe and I met at Lost Lands, the music festival that's created by Excision, and we were all camped together, and we met through a mutual friend of ours, which he met. I think that you guys connected through video games, and you were why we were camping together. And I mean, even though we never really got too acquainted, we did get connected through a horrible tragedy at that music festival. Yeah, there was someone within our crowd. I didn't know them personally, and I don't recall how much you know him, Abe, but there's this man named Mario. Yeah. So there's this man named Mario, and he passed away at that festival.
Oh wow! Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't mean to go like that at that moment.
yeah.
That was really bad timing. 5 p.m. is just the right.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, no, that's tragic.
Yeah, it is, and we had to sit there overnight hearing the cries and wails of a woman who lost her husband. Wow. And that was one of the most intense emotional experiences, I think, for all of us. Like, really,
I will never go back to that festival.
Yeah. See, like, it's that traumatizing. And you know, that's how we got acquainted. But later down the road, actually in 2019, around spring, our mutual friend, his name's Aaron, he was actually mentioning, is like, oh, you know, Abe makes music too, here's something he made. And I was like, give me his number, because now we need to be friends now. We need to be way friends. And we got connected, and was just instantly clicked. We stayed in contact, and basically kept each other accountable to our music making. Really, you know, it evolved over that. Like, I remember, like, having the ups and downs, and like, there were points where he was just like, like, I don't know if I can do this. It's so hard and blah, blah, blah. And like, I'd, help him through that. And like, I remember when I had my down moments and stuff, and it was just like, it's like, oh, like I feel like I'm limited in this way and that way. And, he would help me through that. And, we grew together as artists and developed each other's skills. And like, especially seeing LVllABY, even like before LVllABY was conceived, to like now having like full music making skills. And I remember he would always like have me for mixing and mastering advice and, arrangement tips and such. And after, I think, especially after this EP, it's to the point where, he wouldn't really need me to mix and master anymore. We've filled in the gaps of each other's skill sets. Like he most recently showed me this new project that's under the hood. I don't know about, I'll let him say whatever he wants about that. And I was just like, I have nothing to give for advice wise. Like this is popping off. Sweet. Like I helped him a little bit with template structure, and boom, there you go. Like, I'm like, I can be full hands off, and he's like fully independently able to take care of the three main aspects of what I've like, consumed, what really makes a complete music producer, which is like having that compositional skills, having the sound design skills, and now like filling the gap and being able to mix and master your own stuff to the point of being play out and release ready. Like I think he's really nailed down like all of those aspects of being a music producer, and seeing everything manifest into this EP and watching it all unfold has just been like an awesome adventure.
Beautiful. We are going to come back to you, Jeff, but obviously everyone noticed Fire Prime came at the perfect moment. I don't know if you caught that, mate, but you came in at an epic, traumatizing part of the story.
Trauma bonding, yay!
Yeah.
But please, Fire Prime, introduce yourself, say hello to everyone, and we're going to go back and forth. It's very much an open discussion, very fluid, very natural, and just like a good house party, here comes Fi, just drops in, and then maybe you'll drop out again. Maybe you'll stay. Let's see. Please, over to you.
Yeah. Well, happy to be here. So, yeah, had an appointment, had to deal with time zones. But yeah, I'm Fi Prime, and my real name is Jordan. I am, I first met Abe back in North Carolina. I'm currently in Denver, but it was one of those rave moments where you like sing a song out loud and you look around and somebody else is too, and you're like, okay, this is embarrassing, but also like, okay,
I got you.
And so we were friends and linked up and were at shows, and later on, I don't even remember how much later, found out that he was into making some music and I was into making some visuals. And I think we kind of, I first started messing around.
I thought that was you, dude. Your visuals are sick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I thought that was okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I started like messing around with like, this is something, I'm not an artistic person. Like if you give me a pencil and paper, it'll look like a high schooler did it and got a C on their like assignment. So this is something that I was like, but maybe in the 3D like computer space, I could actually like get some of this stuff in my head out there. And so I started around like, the 2016, 2017 is when I started like saying like, oh, I want to learn this. And then, it took a few years to start getting stuff that I actually thought like, okay, this looks acceptable. And I think around that same time I started, or a little bit later, I started like getting the idea like, oh, music visuals are something that I like enjoying. Maybe I should kind of go in that direction. And I think I've been putting some stuff on my Snapchat, and Abe was putting some of his music on his Snapchat, and it was an obvious collab that needed to happen. And yeah, and I've really enjoyed the LVllABY project, and I think one of like the things that I really like is having up and coming visuals with up and coming music that are like, wow, this has so much potential. This should blow up. Like, I think it was a match.
I hope so too. Well, I mean, for those that don't know, because SoundRig is still relatively a baby, only 1 year in now, and still very much at the MVP stage. So it's very interesting to see how the artists kind of like respond to it. The challenge of coming out with extra content and stuff like that. And I'm very happy actually what Abe did is immense, and you guys really pitched in. So kudos to you guys on that. We don't want to give out too much because obviously this is locked content, is encrypted only for the people that support LVllABY and the project, right? But what was your, and I'll give this open to all of you, I guess. So when Abe came to you with this challenge and asked you to do this, and I guess I don't know how he described it to you, but what was your first initial reactions to what this new music experience is? Either one, Jordan, Jeff, it's up to you.
Sure, I can. I mean, I think I was just excited. I know I've seen like development. I forgot what came first. I think like I heard a little bit. I think like he gave me a little bit of a taste and was like, I'm putting together like a whole EP, a whole project, and like releasing something for real. And I think the taste got me like, okay, this is really like a step up. This is next level. Like I'm definitely up for supporting this and also challenging myself to see if I can level up in my stuff too. So that's really, I'm trying to remember, but that's what I think I can remember about that initial part.
Yeah, I definitely see parallels from your experience to mine as well with Abe's LVllABY project, because I remember seeing, because we're connected through our love of music production, and we like, we've done Zoom calls and such and all of that, and I saw each track basically from conception and then him slowly evolving them and composing them and adjusting everything and adding this or that, getting tips from our little group chat that we have, or group of people, of music producers that we have, and seeing each track unfold into completion was certainly like it was inspiring to see. And also once he was like, all right, like I'm gonna have the audacity to just like put this out there and say like, here it is, my debut EP, and I was just like, okay, because we've had experience in the, what is it, this artist collective called the Producer Dojo, and he had written songs for that artist collective. And because I wanted to polish up and really hone in on my mixing and mastering skills, I offered, is like, hey, can I mix and master this track for you? And he was just like, of course, make it release ready and all that. And I've managed to accomplish that goal. And then over time, as these songs started to reach their completion, and we're finally like, all right, like I've got these as compositionally, sound designingly done, and as mix wise as I'm able to get it as close to possible. Can you help me out with all the polishes and just really getting it release ready and sonically competitive with the other artists that we look up to, and the songs that are of a similar vibe with each song. And like, I of course was like wanting to hone in on my skills, and definitely like just mix and master those tracks for them, and got them to the point of like being competitive sonically, and like getting them release ready to the EP. So I was just like yeah, like I remember one of the first songs that I did, which I think was Halcyon. That one was like super ridiculously loud. And I remember hearing the rest of the other songs. I was like, oh, I need to get these also done, because like some of them there was attempts to mix and master, but I was just like, no, let me go ahead and take care of it, because all of them, it was either not make Halcyon as loud and make them match the other ones, or just like force all the other songs to be competitive with where I put Halcyon. And I was just like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that because that's better. That they all just need to be able to compete with Halcyon, and that's what I did. Except for, what is it? Too Scared for the Future, which is one of my, like, I love that song just like as the subject matter, lyrically, melodically. I've caught myself just singing that song just on my own out of nowhere. And like, yeah, like I love that song. And working with that vocal was certainly a challenge considering where all the other songs was. But I loved his placement of the tracks so that everything kind of just settles down into like a nice like sonic change, and being able to trying to get that song to also, while not being as in your face as certainly the more heavy songs in the EP, getting it up to par to where it wasn't just such a huge sonic difference was also like a learning experience for me. And like getting all of these unifyingly similar with each other sonically was like an expansive experience. So like similar to you, like actually just testing out my skills and, you know, allowing myself to also expand in my own artistry through helping Abe with his is where I definitely see parallels between my journey with this whole project and with being friends with Abe as with you. Like that was, yeah, like I definitely saw all those parallels. It was just through trying to develop my own skills and being friends and like with Abe and having similar goals and wanting to expand ourselves artistically that actually allowed like me to be a better artist and, you know, help Abe with this awesome release.
You know, there's thank you for that, by the way. There's so many tangents I can go off on from all that you said. But first what I wanted to say was, you reminded me actually, was that song, the Scared of the Future one. When I was listening, I was like, this is a fucking score for a dystopian like type of movie, you know, for the future. Kind of like a Terminator for the today, right? Or something like that. It was like, this would be a sick backing track for a film. I would have thought. So we should definitely look into it and sync licensing that one, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. But hey, for you, when I told you about how the tunes are set up and that they're like multimedia music experiences, you know, like doing for what DVDs did for movies, our concept was that to do that for music, right? So you got the songs, but then you've also got the story behind it, how it was created, the soul behind it, the vision and everything. When I told you that, did you know that you were going to go to these two guys immediately, or did you have to like go through a list in your head, or did it just sit straight away?
so it's funny because like I have a really good, I guess, superpower to just make shit happen kind of thing, and everything just kind of lines up with each other kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? I was already on Jordan's ass about like, dude, I love your work, like I wouldn't shut up. Jordan would get messages from me all the time and just be like, oh my god, you just so this and I love it, like. And then so like that was already going to happen regardless kind of thing. Like I already knew that like I wanted to work with him. And then Jeff was the same way, you know what I mean? Like we would, whenever our lives were a little less complicated, we would meet every week and just talk about production stuff and whatnot. So like again, that was just something that was gonna bound to happen anyways at that time kind of thing. Like any song that I thought was like at that level of readiness, I would ask him to help me bring it past that finishing goal, because unlike me, this dude's actually been professionally trained by like Seth Drake of all people. And for those of you guys that don't know who Seth Drake is, this dude is apparently somebody that's released like helped like mix and master a lot of well-known tracks that we all listen to kind of thing. I don't remember which ones or which artists. He sure does probably, but yeah, so like everything was bound to happen in one way, shape, or form kind of thing. So it was just nice to be able to put like take all that craziness that I've been thinking of and like channel it into something a little bit more cohesive. Think of it like a raw diamond. We got to refine it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, polish that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all like really organic, right? Like that's the thing. It's like it's not so much like such a precision intention on a goal. It's more like the culmination and organic unfolding of your relationships and your own efforts that eventually unfold to an opportunity. It's like, I have enough suddenly for an EP release. I can do this. Like, I know this person, I know that person. Let's bring it all together and make it happen. And that is like genuine like manifestation and creation. Just using just all of the varied resources that you've just been exposed to, you know, whether it just be through intention or just like just the unfoldment of how the universe happened, right? Like it's all just like
because it feels the most natural, right? So when it does happen like that, you can't beat it. It just feels too good and feels too right for it to.
Exactly. It's like flow. It's like flow state essentially. You know, like even when you're actively creating, it's more like things are just like happening on their own. Everything's going like full Tetris pieces, and it's all just kind of happening like that. That's like just full cosmic synchronicity. You know, it happens in like individual art projects. It happens in a song making. It happens like everyone's like pretty familiar with how the flow state is. It just you know, unfolds, and then you just have you just look out for all those little nuggets of opportunity that eventually make it to where you have, you know, you did it. You managed to make a goal state truly happen for you and manifest in physical reality. Well, that's, you know, it's like one of the most fulfilling things that can always happen.
It is, absolutely. And you know what? I was really intrigued to find out from you guys, because I know Abe has been in the Cardano community and he's been like around the whole crypto thing, but I wasn't sure about you guys. And this is really interesting because you've got a visual artist and a sound artist, right? Other than Abe. Sorry, I was going to push you to the side. Jeff and Jordan. What was your experience of Web3 crypto NFTs in particular before Abe bought this project to you? And what do you make of it to begin with?
Well, I mean, so I have not been as involved out there in the art space as much as I wanted to, but I was on Instagram and I've been following Beeple, for instance, for years, right? And, you know, part of what has me like so inspired in this is like there's a whole community, you know, on Instagram, but also on Twitter and everywhere else online of like digital artists, specifically animators, like motion graphics, that are like, you just have to keep making content, make content every single day, whether you want to or not, whatever. I have not been great at that, but I do look up to people who, you know, literally went, I think he's around like 14, 15 years now of every 3 days. And it's just like, wow, that is a lot. And then he releases, I see his visuals up online, or sorry, at festivals and shows all the time because he releases it for free. And then he like went in the NFT space and was like, oh, I could actually have what people have been putting on big stages for years actually have the ownership, because, you know, nobody credits Beeple at the music festivals, nobody credits them at their shows, but he could actually have ownership and credit and, you know, money go towards the artist as an acknowledgement of what they've created. So that was, you know, through the crypto and NFT space. And so immediately I was like, wow, this is something very interesting and attractive. And I didn't really like, I'd always been telling myself like, you know, I should get into this like more directly, but you know, I never really found that opening. So this was actually a great opportunity for me to really, you know, dive in and, you know, get my work attached with, you know, this whole Web3 thing, and hope it won't be the last time too. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome to hear. And I've got something for you after that, Jordan. So let's hear from Jeff, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I've heard about cryptocurrency for a while. I remember when it was around 2016, and out of curiosity, I just wanted to see what the exchange rate between currencies were. And like, what's the USD to the pound, to the won, to all this? And then there was Bitcoin. I was like, oh, Interesting. All right. How much is a USD to a Bitcoin? And it was like $600. I know, right? $600.
Tell me you got
And
some.
of course, 2016. No, because I didn't know what fucking like cryptocurrency was, and I was just like, why is this worth like $600? That's so expensive. Like it's so weird. I don't even know what the deal was. And then, 2017, I think it was, and 18, Bitcoin, like, no, it was 2018 December, blew up to like 5 figures, to like 20K. That was the first spike. And I was just like, oh, that's insane. That's insane. And then I started paying more attention to it. And then Abe started getting into cryptocurrency and then, found Cardano and such, and like really started researching into it. And then he got into like creating an NFT project. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that's neat, right? Like I didn't really understand the information. But and he actually saw some good success with that, like through like Cardano waifus. And I was just like, that was my first exposure to what NFTs were. And then like seeing that space unfold the way it was, that's when I wanted to dive in. I was like, okay, this is a really interesting space. And so I started to look into cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And I've always felt myself, and I'm sure Abe would agree, that I'm great at accumulation and a little lacking in execution. So I accumulated a boatload of knowledge about how blockchain works and what its function as a currency could be, how things like different blockchains work, how Ethereum works, what Cardano is, what the significance and how the spike of demand of computer programming will be in the future, and just like all of this information about all of these different technologies and what securities are and what does it mean to have a currency and what the functionality of these different tokens can be, and how NFTs actually work as a non-fungible token and what gives them value and why they are valuable to other people and what even defines value, because of like what I learned about just the nature of money in general. Like that really helped me understand just the economics and functionality of currency in the first place, and why things like Bitcoin, if the fallouts don't scare off the majority public away from what this technology is really capable of, right? Like seeing, for example, like the NFT functionality and what it means to have true digital ownership, and like, oh, you can just right click save image as, it's just like there's more to it than that, right? Like there's like more application to what it means to have ownership over a creative work using the NFT technology to it. And so like I like, good on them for having the Bored Ape project and launching NFTs into the mainstream space. But because of the collective, not just cryptocurrency, the collective economic collapse of all the inflationary money that happened from 2020 and collapsed everything, and cryptocurrency is like a canary in the coal mine in a sense, right? It's like depending on how much it spikes and how much it falls, you can actually have that as an indicator of what the current economics environment is. But because of its volatility, it's so it's very off-putting for everybody. And honestly, because of what I've learned of its technologies, it really needs to be developed user-friendly base-wise. And I still see that as an issue, but like overall, I think if we can get like programmers and such being able to integrate the different types of crypto technologies, because inherently that's what they are really. Like, sure, there's the currency unit that they distribute out for usage, but like it's really the technology underneath it all that has the application of like being able to be decentralized and allowing to have a trustless system between users and such, to where technology can actually be used as a form of like being able to do contracts, like not just like smart contracts, but being able to do things like applicate it with AI and using it for diagnostic purposes, like for healthcare, or being able to honestly automate lawyers, right? It has a lot of applications in all of those spaces. And then like, but it's like seeing its application to the creative space, I think, is appropriate, because most things find their foundations in the arts, right?
Definitely.
So like seeing how like it's applicated to the arts first is definitely also like a sort of canary in the coal mine, seeing how it can work there. So I always like being an optimist, not naively though, like an informed optimism. So I do think that while the sort of economic downturn and flattening of our just general economic environment will leave the crypto world also somewhat stagnant, I do think that, for example, in the next bull run, or even like not even just during now, that'll be an opportunity for just general accumulation, development, and hopefully being able to see a future where all of this technology can be integrated in a way more practical, user-friendly, and like just like prosperous way for everyone. Like not just like in inherent communities, but also just for just general macroeconomic usage.
Well, thank you for describing SoundRig, because that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the idea is to like help the average people to understand what the technology is and how it, can not only help the creators, but also be interesting for them to get involved in. And certainly the way it is now is not conducive to mass adoption, right? It's just not going to happen that way, because everything is way too technical, and it's a very closed circle. Everyone's working in silos. It's just not the way. So the idea of SoundRig was actually 10 years ahead of its time. I had the idea in 2011, and I couldn't, for the life of me, I even built, my friend and I built a prototype on the iPhone 4. That's how old it was, right? So we built it, we even had the concept of how you see it on the player on SoundRig, but without the blockchain. And when people were asking us, like, how does it work? Like, what's the network? Like, what's the distribution? We're like, we don't know, but that's why we need the money. Like when we were talking to investors, we're like, this is why we need the money. Can you just give us the money and we'll do it? But then, a lot of naivety and inexperience in that field led us to just put it on the back burner. And I put it on the back burner for 10 years, 11 years, trying to figure out, how it would work. And then when NFT started coming in, it all started to fall into place. And even then I was just like, so the music industry hasn't changed in like 4 decades, 5 decades. If anything, it's got worse, especially with the streaming and artists getting unfair distribution of, what their craft is. The pool that's distributed isn't in favor of who's being listened to, is in favor of who's listened to the most. I mean, the algorithm's all messed up. So the idea for SoundRig was to help artists back in 2011, because my own friends were artists. And I'll keep this short because it's not about SoundRig, it's about Abe, but I just wanted to give some context to you guys. So in that sense, when we created the idea, it was to help artists who are upcoming, like independent, upcoming and undiscovered music talent. And we were never like naive in the fact that we were going to destroy the music industry, and all that stuff. It wasn't like that. It was like, why don't we give artists another option? They can still go for the stars and still go for the record deal, but at the same time, they might just discover their value. Because what artists, when they're trying to get up there, they're kind of desperate for the limelight and they're trying to become stars, and some of them will sell themselves short, massively short, just to get there, right? What if, and also, it's not like the old days where people grinded themselves up. It's like they want what they see on Instagram and on TV and stuff like that. And it's like, they're not getting the life experience. They're not getting the real experience of the journey of getting to that. They're just seeing the end result. So like, when artists at the early stage, maybe they can start getting revenue for their passion and what they love through another option while they're still going to go through the mainstream. And so, like I said, that wasn't an option in 2011. And when Bitcoin evolved into Web3 and then evolved into Cardano, and then the vision for the future, I was like, this is our shit. This is for us, right? So, and then that was last year. And like I said, we're still an MVP, and luckily for me, I'm getting to meet people on a one-to-one basis, because I mean, for mass adoption, you need to be able to automate stuff so artists from all over the world can, you know, create a profile on SoundRig, get their music uploaded, get the metadata done, and bang, they're gone, right? Upload all their extra features and the behind the scenes content and stuff. But we're not there yet. But the beauty of that is I get to meet the artists, and a lot of them, I mean, Abe knew what he was doing, but you know, a lot of people just want to make music. They don't really care about the whole Web3 space. They don't really understand it. So to be able to talk to the artists, get to know them, and educate them on what Web3 is, what tokens are, what wallets are, and stuff like that, is really intriguing to see which way they go. Because some of them are like, nah, I just want to make music. And then some people just left the table. They're like, nah, it's not for me. And then some people have stayed, which has been really interesting to see. And it's actually been 50-50. So, and Abe, I just want to ask you, because Jeff touched on waifus, and I was never familiar with it. I think it was before my time, before I even got to Cardano. I'm
an OG.
You are an OG, yeah. Could you give a refresher on what waifus is? And I suppose that was your conduit, right, on how you got into
yes.
NFT. So yeah, please explain.
So TLDR, I had saved up a whole bunch of money from dollar cost averaging into crypto. Had enough to pay for everybody to do everything that I needed them to do for my idea, because I couldn't do any of that by myself, which is not sustainable. Yeah, then after that, I proceeded to release them. They're essentially, they're called Cardano waifus. The project is now owned by Cardano NFs, not safe for work. Essentially, it was just an idea of like, I like the idea of trading cards kind of thing, of like different rarities. And I thought it was really cool how much I liked Cardano, that I wanted to like make a waifu for personification of different aspects of Cardano. So you had like Cardano waifu, Daedalus waifu, Emergo waifu, all those different ones emulating different like aspects of Cardano. And yeah, it made me a lot of friends. I got to meet a lot of cool people, a lot of really interesting people that I know to this day still, kind of thing. And it was a dope little learning experience to like get educated on that stuff. And then after that, I did a talk show for a couple of months, Cardano Nights, with Hero, a stake pool. Go stake to Hero stake pool. This is not a paid endorsement. So I further educated myself on everything else that everybody else is doing instead of my own little like thing that I was doing. You know what I mean? Who would have think the guy that like talks about Cardano waifus and anime doesn't like also talks about all these other projects and knows what he's talking about, kind of thing. So it was a pretty interesting change of pace. A lot of people did not expect for me to be who I am whenever they saw me at Cardano CNFT Con. Nice.
So you were basically blowing people away because they weren't expecting it from you, right?
Yep.
And
they thought I looked completely different.
Sorry, go on.
I said they thought I looked completely different, acted completely different, like. Oh man, it's funny just to like exceed people's expectations. It's fun.
That's cool, man. And I was just gonna, when you said about making new friends on Cardano, I was thinking at the same time, were you losing friends in real life because you was going into crypto? Because when I was going into crypto and I was talking to about my friends, like, you gotta get in, like this is the future. Some of them are like, this guy's lost it, man. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. And then obviously when the money was made, they were like, oh, I should have got in. And then when it crashed, they're like, told you so. Like, your mind, bro. What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the how I talked to it or about it or not. I don't know. But I came out pretty unscathed on the IRL side of things. Like, I think I came out pretty well, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, people kind of like, oh, like they were like, okay, Abe, like we already know. Like, it helps that I'm already weird. So like. The people that are around me already know what I'm capable of, kind of thing, in terms of just like, all right, well, this is expected from him, kind of thing. So it wasn't too hard for me, at least. But yeah, no, it's like, and luckily nobody rubbed it in my face too much whenever everything crashed. You know what I mean? So that's nice.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And Jeff, like now that you've done this project with Abe, Are you thinking of anything? Because we would love to have you, not just on SoundRig, we would love to see you on Web3. I think this is the whole point of the decentralization and the different opportunities out there now for artists, is that you should be everywhere. I think you should like at least have the opportunity for as many people to listen to your music as possible. So please let us know. Are you converted now fully?
Oh yes, I would love to get involved. As far as like my own personal endeavors in music, I know like as far as output's concerned, that's where I have issues like during doing like work-life balance, but I'm definitely working on that. I'm trying to optimize to the point where I can basically make an album's worth of music every year, like essentially like a song a month. That's been the goal. So as far as like technical knowledge and me being able to execute actual compositions and really express myself musically, I've managed to get to the point where I can like truly admire and be proud of what I make. Now it's just about actually like outputting at a frequency that's even like relevant, you know, because if I'm like at a track every year or so, that's not really sustainable. You know, that's like a hobbyist, and I don't really care to be a hobbyist. I love doing this, like music, especially music making and doing this. Getting into music is what's humanized me. It's made me more of a person. Like it's made me emotionally dynamic. It's allowed me to just like learn and actually have the drive to better myself every day. I want to get into this as pretty much full force as I can. So really for me, this has just been like a self-mastery journey at this point. So getting involved like that, that'll just like I would definitely love to be able to have the opportunity to do that. But it all starts from like just me actually doing all the work and getting this done and like balancing that work-life balance. Cause like that's pretty much the case for me, you know, like getting in and like also like go ahead.
Yeah, go on, please finish.
No, you're good.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, well, a good way to do it is now that you've dipped your toe in, you can put your feet in, right? So what I mean by that is you've supported Abe in what you did for his extra content, and there's a beautiful video, by the way, very well spoken. And that's all we're gonna say on that. But now that you've done that, perhaps the next step would be for you to do a collaboration with Abe, and then we have another, maybe 2 videos from Fire Prime. I don't know. We'll see what he does. But it could be like a collaborative project between you guys as producers with a yin and a yang type thing going on. I don't know. I'm just like coming out with stuff. But that's one way that you could actually like go ahead, I think, and then evolve into a full solo project.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds sounds like it could be definitely an idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I know like what's up?
I said I'm going to follow up on that with you. I'm just planting the seed.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, like we've made a few collaborative songs, but because of our locations, like collaboration is so much easier, like just in person, whether it be for music or anything. Just like being able to have that back and forth, and being in like the same physical environment is the most conducive towards any collaborative project. So, you know, we have a few collaborative songs in the works, but they're all just like works in progress. Yeah. Genre wise, they're completely different. I think we have 3 at this point. There's one where we like basically both of us were well especially Abe. So like when we were like first getting started, it's like, all right, here's a song that he threw me something and I threw it back at him, and then like it kind of fell away as we were just developing our own songs. And then like we got another song where we actually integrated lyrics and we got pretty far, but now it's just like, okay, we could totally finish the song if we just dedicated a day, both of us, just like from like morning into night, and finish the song. So it's really just like getting the time schedules right to where we can actually be in the same physical space to creatively collaborate with one another. And we actually are starting to work out an idea where eventually getting together maybe on like a monthly or like bi-monthly basis will be like ritualized.
Beautiful. Yeah, and like you said, it can only happen naturally, right? Otherwise it just feels forced to do it. Jordan, what you were saying earlier about you wanting to work in the space, we normally have a launch party for the artist, right? So this coming Sunday on the 27th, we're going to be launching the tunes, as we call it, and we will have obviously Abe there talking, co-hosting on the platform. Hopefully you guys can come as well. But before that, we like to join some spaces. Like the music community on Cardano, especially, is very much evolved now, and there's some very, very awesome people, awesome artists, producers, just even listeners and creatives, right, that come to these spaces, listen to the music, have some fun, and have a good conversation. And that's on Wednesdays. And I think you guys should come along because you get a sense of the community there as well. But for yourself as a graphic artist, video maker, visual artist, I think that there's a lot of need for your skills.
That's what I've been telling him.
Yeah, bro, the demand for what you do is so high.
It's
so
insane.
High.
And when people see the quality of what you've done, especially if they support the drop and they go and buy a copy, they're going to see you speak about your process, your flow, how you do it. I really believe that people need your what you do, basically, not just for music, but for other visual elements of their project. So I would definitely recommend you come into the listening room. Shout out to the listening room, guys. And that will be tomorrow, late for me. I think it's 2 p.m., right, Abe?
Yeah, I think it's around 2 p.m. and it lasts like a couple hours or so. 2 p.m. your time. Well, maybe, let me see here. I'm always at work typically, so I never really get to catch it.
To be fair, I think actually I know for a fact I won't be able to get this sorted out and gone live on YouTube anytime in the next 24 hours. So this is actually the past, and I hope to have seen you guys on the space tomorrow.
Exactly. There you go. Boom.
Then on Sunday we will talk about it and how it went and stuff like that, right? But certainly come to the launch party and try to make it tomorrow. I think it will be really good for you, and we will get Abe on the stage, and because you guys are part of the project, it'll be cool if you come up and say your bit as well. And yeah, I think that'll be really awesome for other people to hear as well, because the space is full of so many people that have been in there for so long. It's very rare to see someone fresh come in and say their perspective, right? So it'll be really cool to hear from you. I mean, obviously Jeff's been in there a little bit longer, right, than you, Jordan. Did you manage to get into the crypto, Jordan? Did you buy yourself anything? Or
yeah, I mean, so yeah, I have been like, I got some Bitcoin because I had friends and I would see on social everybody wouldn't shut up, so I was like, okay, I'll get a little bit. Back in like what was that? It was right before the first like crash, around like 2015ish.
Oh, so you got it at the top.
Well, I didn't get far in. I got a little bit to play with, and I was like, oh, so that's what it's like to see money disappear. Cool. But I stayed with it and actually like ended up, making some money with Bitcoin, and because I ended up going back into grad school, selling at a reasonable time and made a little bit of profit. And then I got into Ethereum and Cardano and, some of the others later on in the game. So yeah, I'm a little bit involved. I wouldn't say I'm like, heavy.
So you're not new to crypto, but you're just new to the NFT side of things, right?
Definitely.
Right.
And especially like, I'll be honest, it wasn't until like a couple years ago that I even began to understand like proof of work versus proof of stake, or like actually understood.
Same.
I knew it was decentralized, but I didn't actually like dive into understanding until a lot more recently. And there's still, a wealth for me to still understand, but yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, like when I started out in this, I was like what you could call a non-tech founder, right? Because I had the vision and the passion and the idea and of how to get there, but I had no clue about the tech side of things. So that's why you have to make the right team, obviously, and it's got there. And from what you saw, now it's for me to get value out of this for myself. I'm being a little bit selfish, and I've been asking a lot of questions. So I would love to give the mic to you guys and perhaps ask me some questions about the process or the platform or whatever, so that the listeners get an idea about what these tunes are and what it's about and how it works. And if there's something maybe that you didn't understand, even you, Abe, because I know we've spoken a lot, but if there's something about this whole SoundRig thing that you don't understand, please ask. Anyone?
Any questions, gentlemen?
How'd you come up with the name? Because that's a pretty interesting name for the whole project.
That's actually a good idea. Good question, sorry, because it was a good idea. And it was 2011. Back then, I used to smoke copious amounts of God's plant, should we call it? And there was a lot of inspiration that came from that. The idea actually came from that as well, because we were with our friends. They were also smoking. And, you know, when people start flowing, they talk about either bullshit or they talk about what's inside, right? And these are music artists who were talking from the heart, and they were talking about how they weren't really getting anywhere. And these guys like me, they were from the street, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like the slums, but it's general poverty in the UK, right? So like breadline, and they were like trying to get there, but they had the talent, but they didn't have the backing. They didn't really know what they were doing and stuff. So I took the idea from oil rigs, basically. And the idea was that like an oil rig drills underground, and sources raw material from the underground and takes it to a platform where it's then refined or sent for refinement and then distributed to the world, right? So that my thinking was, what if we could do that for talent? What if we had a platform that sourced raw talent from the underground, let's say the streets or whatever, and gave them a platform where they could refine their sound, their, you know, kind of like a crowdfunding before, you know, like before it was. So there's a way for them to sell music, get feedback, really refine themselves before they get distributed to the world. And that's what SoundRig was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the missing piece between being raw talent and being a professional recording artist, because there's a lot of fuckery that happens between not really being anyone to, you know, becoming someone. And in that and that gray area, there's a lot of shit that happens, and not all of it is great, to be fair, especially when you got predatory, you know, execs and music managers and stuff like that. So I was like, if they had a safe place for them to perfect themselves before they go out, well, when they do get approached for a record deal, let's say, they know what a bad record deal looks like, or they at least know their true value, so they don't get sucked into a bad deal. You know what I mean? And they know what it means to be an independent artist, make money for themselves, and go through that work. So that's where the name came from. So it's oil rig, but SoundRig. So it's for music, basically the music version of an oil rig, if you like. But thank you for that question. Because, you know.
Yeah, that's an awesome intention, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense. The way you're pulling things from the underground. Yeah, that's awesome.
Clever.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Clever.
And to be fair, that was the whole vision for SoundRig from the beginning. So right now, the way the MVP is everything is manual, and also I am not able to speak every language in the world. I don't know every culture. I can't be everywhere in the world, right? So my thinking was, how do I kind of get artists from everywhere, because I can't do that myself physically anyway. So we came up with this idea of agent managers, kind of like A&R basically. And so the idea is that agent managers would, even if they're musically talented themselves as artists, or they're not, they just want to be in the music industry, or they already are, and they want to help artists. That way they would do the onboarding. I would teach them everything, and then they would then do that on our behalf, and then they can earn part of the revenue as well for these artists. So it's kind of like being an A&R, but for yourself as self-employed, right? And helping as many artists in your local area as possible. And so, again, I think that's sustainable, but really without the tech to be automated and stuff like that is still a long process, to be fair, because a lot of artists don't get it straight away. They need a few meetings and stuff like that. But we're getting there, man. We're still here a year after, so it's all up from here, right?
Yeah, that's quite the feat. It's basically like a sort of launch pad, right? Like it's like a launch pad-esque. Yeah, and like the feat is quite admirable. Like being able, and like you got to be like roots in the ground and then like branches out in the sky to be able to do that, right? Like it's like being able to sift out, and because finding underground's really hard because it's underground. Right. So I'd be interested to see how, I think it's just a huge networking feat, right? Like you would have to have like like underground people to know about this project, and then also achieving the feat of being able to actively, push, like, because like what you're aiming to also
them,
like
because there's a lot of the work is actually people management, right? First of all, attracting their attention, and then being able to motivate them to the point where they get to fruition, because an idea is a good thing, and then talking about it is another, and then actually doing the work to get to that stage, like
it's 80% of the battle.
This has been working a long time in the process, and some of it was hours, some of it was Abe's, but we finally got there. But it takes a lot, especially when you realize that what you've created, oh man, it could be better, and you come up with more ideas and more things, and there's like refinement until you're really happy to get it out there. So there's a reason why we haven't got hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands even of artists on there, is because really it takes a lot to do, and it's kind of sorting out the real from the wannabes, if that makes sense, because they see what the concept is, and it's not just about making a track and sticking it out there. What we're saying is create something special, because your music is all on all streaming sites anyway. What special or something different are you giving these true fans of yours, right? Because your content is constantly being streamed on social media, nothing is left, right? So create something specially for them, and when they get that, they're like, so they either go and do it, or they don't. And so it's been very interesting to see on that perspective. But thank you for that question. Any others?
Let me see. Like, so as far as the collaboration and the growth of the project, with you knowing Abe, how did you two even get to know each other to where this was like, all right, we have similar intentions and we can definitely like both be able to further like define what we're actually doing through each other's collaborations?
I will let Abe answer this, because he actually came over to us through someone else. So I'm going to let Abe answer this.
Yeah, so besides Sunny, there's a couple of other people in SoundRig. Both of them have had some IRL stuff go down, so that's why they're not here right now currently, kind of thing. But they were the ones, so like I remember just being in a whole bunch of, like I said, Twitter spaces, right? And his partner was one of those people that I had actually interviewed one day, kind of thing. Him and my buddy Vic, aka the Hidden Order. We love that man.
Yes. Shout out to Vic.
Shout out to Vic, man. We love that man. But they both came on. I believe Quentin, right?
Yeah.
Quentin and Vic came on. They spoke about SoundRig. I was intrigued. I was still like, at that point, I had a lot of my stuff already kind of coming together, and I knew I wanted to come out with an EP, and I knew I wanted it to be on Web3. I had reached out to a couple of different programs, but the only people that was like down to have a conversation with me and like have a meeting and like talk to me like one-on-one and whatnot was SoundRig. So I was like, all right, bet. Well, let me go with you guys then, because like you guys have that personable aspect that I'm kind of looking for, kind of thing, right? Because I already heard their pitch, like I knew what they were about, like you know what I mean? Like it kind of all kind of came together, and yeah, it was really dope. And then as the time went by, you know, like with any production kind of thing or any kind of release, like always expect for it to take longer and or cost more than what you think is gonna be, kind of thing. That's just with a lot of different things. But like
In
it's good
life
to be in
in
the company
general.
of people. I'm sorry.
Life in general,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah,
I was
right.
about to say that's like for everything, exactly. And then it was really cool because the tech side of things is this guy by the name of This Crazy Life, and he's actually somebody that I've actually talked to like the very first instances of Cardano that I was ever on, kind of thing. I remember we were talking about finger monsters. Like I was wanting to get finger monsters from this dude. And then next thing you know, he's on my show talking about this really cool NFT called the Refresh, which if you guys have never heard of, it's a really cool little art thing that that it's an NFT, and every time you refresh the page, it's a completely different art piece that you'll see there, kind of thing. And then I found out that he's working out with SoundRig over here, and I was like, oh snap! So now like I have this tech wizard that I've like known about forever, like now also like helping me with my release and whatnot, because he came out with such a cool player that works so well with SoundRig's player, and it's just really cool all around.
Yeah. It was about knowing, I mean, being in the right place at the right time, I suppose,
Yep.
because I had seen Abe's or LVllABY application come in like last year, right? And he's been on the upcoming artist for the best part of 9 months. I was like, and then finally it actually come to fruition. But yeah, because if artists go to SoundRig, they can apply, and then it comes to me, and then I set up the meetings, and we start the flow going, depending on where they are on their Web3 journey. And he was there for a while, but I sent the response and I heard nothing. And then all of a sudden, the same guy who'd signed up a year ago came through a different avenue. And I was just like, this is the same guy. I had to double check. But we got to the end. But yeah, no, that was awesome. And I'm really, really happy that we've actually finally got here. And speaking of your drop, now I think it's a good time to just explain what's on there, Abe, and you know, give the audience a taste of what's about to come on Sunday, the 27th.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! So a couple things. First off, it's a 4-track EP. Each song is a completely different vibe, so it's really cool to like experience which ones you're gonna like the most, kind of thing. They were all mixed and mastered by that beautiful mug right there, My Perspective, aka Jeff. And then there's a really awesome music video by this lovely mug right here, by Prime Jordan over here, right? And then there's also some other added stuff as well. So like, sure, you can listen to the music and watch the music video wherever, kind of thing. But where we're really getting into the meat and potatoes kind of thing is whenever you actually get the NFT and you see that there's also behind the scenes. So you'll see me do a track breakdown of one of the tracks on the EP. You'll see how Phi Prime goes about how he goes through the behind the scenes of the music video. And then there's also content from Jeff as well, who's talked a little bit about the journey and whatnot of what goes on behind the scenes of like creating all this kind of stuff. It's nice to have those kind of scenes in there, and it's really cool too that there's also custom art. So we actually, for those of you guys that don't know, there's a Cardano artist by the name of Plus, who's worked on projects like Demon Baby Hit Squad, along with doing his own stuff outside of that as well, doing art as well as music. He's also a really dope producer. Him and I collab, so you'll actually see 4 different LVllABY heads, look similar to this one, right? And they're all like digitally made and rendered to fit each of their tracks, kind of thing. So while you're listening to this music, you'll also be able to see such really awesome, really cool art that was made specifically for this EP kind of thing. So I definitely put a lot of thought and curation behind what I'm wanting to give out, because anybody, like I said, anybody, it's on all streaming platforms. Anybody can go listen to this. But if you want the full experience, you'll have to get it exclusively through SoundRig. If you want that, if you want the exclusive art, if you want the behind the scenes, and then if you also want, there's a special contest that we're going to be doing that I'll talk a little about a little bit later. That's also going to be included. So it has everything. It has a little bit for everybody. The collectors. It's got something for the people that just like art, and then it's definitely got something for the producers as well.
Amazing. And how many are we launching? How many copies will be available? And the price?
That's a great question. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I think it was 420, right?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, 420.
That makes sense. So.
It was definitely funny numbers for sure. 420, and then we're going sub for the price. That's the price. I can't remember off the top of my head right there, but definitely 420 supply. So not many at all. Yeah, we can add it.
Not many at all. Not many at all. And
not many at all.
And just for everyone at home, so the content, just to remind you, is completely encrypted. So again, the music is available on all streaming sites, so you can start supporting him now and start listening to the music. And when you fall in love with the music, well, then you want to see how it's made, right? And you want to see how he produced it, and also how the crew come together and their thoughts and feelings behind it. So it's a really amazing way to connect with this artist and see his soul from him, right? Rather than some media out there all talking shit and not knowing what they're talking about.
So and music just looks better with visuals too. So
absolutely,
you know, you get the
absolutely, and you get to see what goes into that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that was obviously the whole point. And so people can fall in love with you and support you in your career as you go forward, right? Now that we've got this EP coming out and it's on the streaming side, is this part of a bigger project, like an album that's going to be coming out later, or is it solely this and then you're going to start something new soon?
We shall see.
Oh, okay. You've got my attention. No, that's cool, man. Yeah, have a rest. You know what I mean, and obviously promote this and get it out there to as many ears as possible. And I think that and obviously all the links are going to be at the bottom of here of this video, so you know you can go to Spotify, stream it, and then see what you think. And also, if you go to soundrig.io, you'll find his profile there, and you've got all his socials there, so you can follow him as well. And yeah, so 27th of August, 1 p.m. EST, shit is going down. What was it that you wanted to say? You said I'm going to say it a little bit later.
Oh yes, so there's going to be a contest that's going to be held for producers. It's going to be a remix competition. We're still working out all the details, but with this purchase of these NFTs, you're also getting all the stems for the tracks. So if you, even if you don't want to remix it, which is completely fine, if you want to use it for your own production, just to see what you can do, or like be inspired by it, by anything or whatever, or really like look dedicated into that sound, it's there.
Oh, that's why you wanted me to send out the track.
Yep.
Genius.
Exactly.
This is awesome. This is awesome. I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay,
and it's all encrypted, so you can only get it with the NFT. So you cannot get these stems any other way.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, I knew the stems were there, but I didn't know the concept behind it. You hadn't even shared that with me, which is awesome. Now you get a reaction, right? But now I'm thinking, maybe after the launch, when would you like this competition to come to fruition? So like we could do a competition party, let's say, you know, I don't know, a month later, give people a challenge, and then have another NFT space. What do you think?
I think that would be dope. We can get some more excitement tomorrow, and then with the party on Sunday, we could also get a little bit more excitement there. And then, you know,
Yeah.
let people enjoy the music and let it breathe, and then, you know, get right back into it. All right, remixes. Who wants like in all 4 tracks too? So anybody can pick any of the 4 tracks and remix them. Get crazy. Put 2 of them together, if anything. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
That's weird. I was just thinking that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's good. That'll be an interesting thing. What comes out from that? So, what would be the prize? I guess, like, what are these people going to get for this competition? How are you going to pick the winner as well? Is going to be more than one, or is it going to be just the one winner? How are we doing this?
That's a great question. So I know I definitely want to get some help from my homies from the listening room.
Yeah.
They might help me be my little panel, right? You know what I mean? Get there. I got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what we could do is we could have another remix release kind of thing. So the songs that do the best, you know, they get released onto this remix EP. And of course, we want to make sure that our artists are getting compensated or whatnot. So the artists that do make it, they will be royally compensated with royalties, as well as mint price, anything like that. They will be getting a share of that kind of thing. As far as additional prizes after that, I would love to get some more ideas on that, or really make it a little bit more like sink your teeth into kind of thing.
I think that's a great shout. I think to bring people into the fold and share, you know, the rewards with them is an amazing thing to do. And to have, and it would make sense, I think, to have a top 3, because obviously depending on how many people do it, right? If it's only 3,
right.
it should be one winner. But if there's like 10 or whatever, I think we can do a remix version of the original with some behind the scenes from them. Oh, and here's something. I think they should have to record themselves, at least a 5-minute clip of them, their process, how they did it.
That'd be tight.
Yeah, and I think that would make it a lot more interesting, and then put that as part of the package. And then we release an exclusive, I don't know, 50 or 100 only, of that next one.
Yeah, and that's definitely valuable for the demographic of people that would actually like be participating in that. It's like, yeah, what did you do? Because like I'm into this because I'm producing. How did they remix it? You know, so I think that's an excellent idea.
Thank you. I think this is a free consultation session. People are watching our ideas come to life, and this is how it happens. People, you know, you just go off the cuff and speak from the soul. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm very happy with this conversation. I could keep going all day, but I know we don't have all day, and you know, I've certainly got a baby who's going to be running up here any minute now. So I would love to give you guys the floor, Abe, certainly yourself, to say some last words, and or if there's any more questions, please let's talk. But if everyone's happy, then Abe, is all for you.
I just want to say, you know, shout out to everyone here, everybody that's not here either, that's helped along the way with this EP. You know, it's been a long time coming kind of thing. It's one step into a grander plan. To stay tuned, because there's a lot more other stuff that I'm going to be working on. I've actually just got a song that's almost done. With a really big OG in the EDM world, I think, as a vocalist kind of thing. So I'm really excited about that. I've released, if you guys are looking to listen to some of my music already as well, feel free to check out, you know, all my social medias, SoundCloud. That's where you're going to find the most of my catalog, since a lot of the stuff that I've made recently are mostly like remixes, mashups, and stuff like that they can't release everywhere else kind of thing. So if you're looking for like that kind of stuff, look there. Definitely make sure to mark and set an alarm. Mark your calendar, set an alarm for Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, for this EP NFT, the exclusive, all behind the scenes. If you're looking for that DVD box experience, this is where it is, right here kind of thing. It's going to be yours forever, and it's going to be awesome. You're going to really love how it looks and all that stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And before we all go, I mean, I normally ask this of people when we have meetings, but a pearl of wisdom or a golden nugget, something from something that you live by, right? I'm gonna ask all three of you in a couple of minutes. So just quickly think of something some wisdom that you can impart on the viewers before we leave. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming. You have been listening to LVllABY, My Perspective, and 5 Prime. And this has been the Sound of the Future podcast for the SoundRig platform, exclusively for independent, upcoming, and undiscovered talent around the world. So please take it away. One golden nugget, word of wisdom from all of you.
I say
I'll go
like, yeah, okay. You go first. Go ahead.
No, I noticed this, and I notice it all the time. There is one medicine that can cure not everything, but most things, and that's creativity. Putting yourself out there, creating something that didn't exist before, that's so you, that'll take you places you never thought you could go. And I can say for me personally, like, it has made such a huge difference in my life, creating something, anything.
Absolutely. I definitely ditto to that. I second that 100%. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. I would say, like, have a goal and aim for it relentlessly. Otherwise, you'll be aimless and you'll, end up nowhere, because you always get what you aim for. And if you aim for nothing, you get nothing. But if you aim for something, you get something. So that would be my nugget. Have a goal, aim for it, and be relentless about it.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much. Abe?
Quantity over quality. The more you make, you'll get better results with. This is actually a scientifically researched phenomenon, at least with like a class. I forget what the study was called, but essentially one teacher ordered half the class to make as many pictures as they can. The other one was tasked to make one picture the best that they can. And the better results always came from the one that was producing more versus the one I was focused on producing what's going to be the best kind of thing. So a TLDR, treat your trucks like they are the redheaded stepchild, and make multiple of them, and then you'll be all right, and you'll find one that's a banger. Like that's my approach kind of thing. The more detached you are from your work, but still complete it, the better your results are going to be. Just that spirit of creativity.
Amazing. Beautiful. Thank you. And I guess I would lastly say, lead with selfless service. Always try to do things for people without expecting anything back in return, and you'll always win. So with that said, thank you, gents. I'll see you at the launch party on Sunday. Yep.
See you at the launch party on Sunday.
I'm totally free. I'm down.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
All right.